is this the dissension of a star? And the reason I say that is because we had Aljamain Sterling versus Brian Ortega. Ortega, for the longest time, was just cemented into the top five of the featherweight division. You had Aljamain Sterling, who was a bantamweight champion at one point, decides to move up to 145 pounds. Ortega, here, let's take a look at his last couple fights. Look, and by the way, it's not like he's fighting any scrubs, right? Like, I'm not
No.
saying that in any way, shape, or form, but he loses his title fight to Max Holloway. I get it. Beats Korean Zombie, but then loses to Volkanovski. Loses to Yair Rodriguez. That was a shoulder injury. Then he beats Yair Rodriguez, loses to Diego Lopez, now loses to Aljamain Sterling. But it's not just losing the four out of the last five. It's did you like keep up with the drama leading up to
Up
like
to this
having
fight?
yeah like there was concern about him missing weight, which he wasn't able to make
Yeah. And that's
145.
and that's why they had to the bump up the catch weight to that weird catch weight of 53.
Yeah. So and then so they're like, hey, fight's off, right? News comes out, fight's off, everybody's all bummed out, and then they're like, whoa, fight's not off, right? Like we're trying to figure shit out. And so Ortega's like, look, I guess he was in the hospital the night before, not going to be able to make weight or something like that. The night before he has to weigh in, so they contact Aljamain's team and they tell him like, hey, maybe we do a catch weight. And Aljamain's like, hey, the only way I'll do catch weight is if this still impacts the rankings. Like, I don't want to be fighting somebody and beat them when they're higher ranked than I am, and then not be able to move up in the rankings. So I'm sure that with him going through with the fight, they were able to come to some kind of agreement, right, when it comes to the rankings. But there's just so much going on, and
As
when
much
he
as they
was
can.
right as much as they can, and then as he's walking in to the scale, did you see? Or was the scale or face off? The face off with his hair all jacked up, and he looked very like zombie like. It
Yeah.
just looked like a hot
He
mess
looked
leading
awful.
in.
He looked awful in there. Like his just like if you looked at him when he was just standing in there, he looked like somebody that you would not think of. Like if he didn't have gloves on, you wouldn't think that that was a fighter. He looked very disheveled.
Yeah, it was not the same Ortega that we're used to seeing. We'll say that for sure. And look,
Yeah, no,
let
not at
let
all.
me just go to the comments real quick. So go saying Toasty, what do you think of fighters bouncing around like that in general? Could it help an elite fighter if they are traveling with their own team as well as learning from different coaches? I think he's talking about like the things that you had mentioned from like Walker going to different camps and so on and so forth.
I mean, it definitely depends. Like all this stuff, it's fighting is so individual that it all just depends on the fighter. Um, if you the whole thing is staying focused, like if you can go and travel from place to place from gym to gym and stay focused on training as opposed to staying focused on traveling or being on vacation when you go from
Mm,
place to place, I think that's your big hang up. It's like kind of the same thing when like you get drafted to a certain NFL team and you go to like Vegas and you get caught up in the Vegas life around it instead of
yeah.
the training part of it. I think that's sort of where I would stand on that. If you could stay focused on it, then anything can be beneficial for you if you could stay focused.
Good call. Good call. Blunderbub saying, "Hey, start putting coaches in jail for these cuts, man." And I'm pretty sure he's talking about Ortega. Again, rough cut from what everybody was saying. So yeah, and not just that, but after seeing the rough cut that the fighter went through, and they're still like, well, I mean, you're still going in there, right? And look, Ortega, if there's anything that Ortega has from nobody could take away from him, it's heart. No matter what dude's in there, he's tough as nails. And so maybe sometimes his coaches just have to save him from himself too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh Ghosting Ortega's ego metaphors didn't help in the weight cut or the fight. I did not hear any of the ego metaphors, but now I'm gonna have to look them up because it makes me think of Nacho Libre right away with the eagle legs. You know what I mean? Um, and then Evie saying Sterling should have steamrolled him. This fight never should have gone to decision. And look, okay, so we'll get more into the fight right now because Sterling did look pretty damn good rounds 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Toasty, how much of this was what you had mentioned of Ortega seeming more hesitant to throw, not being himself, versus a good game plan from Aljamain?
I think this is kind of what Aljo kind of his MO nowadays. Now that he's in the higher weight class, I don't think he's comfortable like being in the pocket and getting hit, especially having being knocked out by Sean at the lower weight. I think that he's a little bit. I don't think he's trying to go in there and like put it on people. I think he's trying to pick his shots and kind of run away a bit.
Mm.
Um, so I think that's just sort of his mo. And yeah, um, I think that plus Brian coming in here just sort of being, I want to say like at 50 to 60%. I think there was no way he was going to catch him. And I think those two kind of just played into each other, just like on a vicious cycle through the whole fight.
Yeah, man, good call. And I want to say it was in the third round. Aljo throws a right that kind of like looped in, and the thumb hits Ortega in his left eye, and Ortega like is like, "Whoa, dude, I think you just poked my eye." Looks at Herb. Herb's like, "It was a punch." Looks at Herb. Looks at Aljo, and Aljo's like, "He's complaining about an eye poke." It was like a really weird interaction,
Yeah,
and it's like, guys, I don't know how many times I've said all this on the podcast. Just ref, if you saw it be a punch, but somebody's complaining about it being an eye poke, but you saw for a fact it was a punch, don't stop it just because they're asking you to stop it.
yeah.
Aljo,
I,
props to you. I know you're a respectful dude, but also you know it was a punch because you even looked at Herb and you're like, hey, it was the end of the glove, right? It was a punch, but
yeah.
he still held off to not pounce on Ortega as Ortega was calling for time.
And I'm like, if you watch, he throws that punch the same way every single time. When he throws overhands, he throws it with like knuckle down, which one means that that's how you train it and that's like your muscle memory. And two, that means that if you train it, you either one, know it's illegal or you think it's illegal, or two, you know it's legal. So there's no reason that you should be going in there and saying, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll stop. Like, why are
Yeah.
you calling neutral timeout? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, Aljo. Like,
It
just
was so
like
frustrating.
you and you hit him so square. His eye was useless for like I want to say like 8 minutes after that. Like,
Yeah.
why did you not just go? And it's his front eye. He can't see you attacking the lead and offset side. Why are you not just like taking a single and putting him on his back and going straight to side or mount? You're a black belt. Like you can do that. Just do it.
And to Evie's point, right? Like when she's saying, "Hey, he probably should have steamrolled Ortega," maybe that would have been his opportunity. When
Yeah,
Ortega's calling for time, and you can call for time in the fight, just like, "Hey, hold on, my eye," and Herb even at first said, "Fight on," and they didn't, right? So that was kind of rough. You continue going on, and Will points out, "Hey, shout out Will again. Happy anniversary, Will. That's why he's not with us today. So happy anniversary to you and Katie." Nice of her to let you join the podcast through chat, even though you are on your anniversary vacation.
yeah. Why are you talking to us?
Yeah, but anyways, Will's pointing out the spinning back elbow was cool, and there was a couple times where Aljo would had have the big step in and throw that left cross, and you would see him set up that spinning back elbow, and then he went through and he did it again, like a couple seconds later, right? And Ortega's like, okay, he's trying to set this up. And later on in the fight, guess what he does? Big left cross, misses, spinning back elbow. And this is as Ortega finally started putting pressure on in the fourth. Finally started putting pressure on in the fourth, and he lands a spinning back elbow square on Ortega's face. And he just ate it like nothing. Again,
Yep.
Ortega's heart, man, his chin, there's no doubting it. Um, but it was a very easy decision. Go saying classic Herb. Yeah, I know. Classic Herb. Uh, very easy decision for the judges, though, huh?
Yeah. Very easy. Not really anything surprising there. If you wanted to give Sal Diamato an easy victory in the judges' scorecards, give him this fight. Let him
Yeah.
score this one.
Ooh, hey, Evie bringing up a really good point. I think there should be a point deduction if a fighter forces a timeout for a false reason like that. What do you think? So
Uh,
let's say he gets punched, just like we saw. Punch, but we saw clearly it was the closed fist. Fighter calls for time, the ref grants time. Or should you say, hey, no, just in general, fighters should not ask for time?
I think that's where it gets murky. Is like you shouldn't give any sort of bridge or opening for fighters to be able to call for like time in the middle of fights.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know how you rectify that because I mean there's not any real way to put you back, like stop action, put you back in the same exact situation, same circumstances.
It's rough,
Uh,
man. I
yeah,
know, like, in other sports, right, football, basketball, everything you say, play until the whistle. You play until the whistle, like, you don't assume that the play is gonna be stopped, and I in a way, it's almost like the same thing with fighting. You fight until the ref stops it. You know, if you happen to really get eye poked and you complain about the eye poke and the ref is standing right next to you, he's gonna stop the fight, right? If he sees the eye poke. If he sees a punch being thrown and he sees the thumb on that fist as it's coming in a weird angle hit your eye and he sees it's a punch and you complain about the eye, he's not gonna stop the fight, which means you continue protecting yourself at all times. Continue fighting,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Like,
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.